we're going to get into, and this has been covered by Rev, so we'll watch his video in a second, but this is about journalists targeting people's family. Now, this one, a couple of people mentioned this to me, and so I want to cover it because there's definitely some legal implications here. Now, I haven't seen every single tweet that Alyssa has made, but I want to bring up, like, what are the legal implications here? What's going on? This is very interesting. So this is the tweet, one of the tweets where this stemmed from, and this is part of the thumbnail, which is Alyssa Mercanti, a writer for Kotaku. She's been really problematic in the last couple months. She's pretty deranged. She's seeking attention. She's just going off and doing crazy stuff. And this is the latest saga in her certifiably insane meltdown, which is anyways, and she's posting this to a person she doesn't like. Anyways, I found your wife's Facebook and I asked what she thinks about the husband of her children harassing women online and laughing when they share that someone they're supporting has been threatened to kill them for weeks. This is certifiably insane. First of all, no one's threatening her at all. Alyssa's not under any real threat. That's ridiculous. Actually, the people that are under threat are like people who threatened Asmongold and Grum's Mark Kern with a bounty. There's a $50,000 bounty out there on Mark Kern and on, I think Asmon had a $30K bounty, right? They're the people getting threatened. And they're the people getting punished, shadow banned on certain platforms. Discord has banned any links to Grum's Twitter, right? So these are the people that are actually getting consequences. And then now Alyssa and then her allies are actually saying what we need to do is we need to go after these people's significant others and go to their work and start stalking them down and chasing after them. These people are cyber stalkers. These people are out here stalking people across the internet, doing everything possible to defame people, to attack them. Now, I'm going to be clear. We're going to go through the video. Not everything is illegal. So you are allowed to critique people. You are allowed to even, for example, you are allowed to tell other people about what people are doing. The thing is, you also can't call people criminals, right? So in this, saying that you're harassing women, well, that to me sounds like you're accusing them of some sort of sexual harassment. If they're in fact not guilty of sexual harassment, then you might be defaming them. So anyways, this is, of course, coming from the post by Smash JT. Who says, Kotaku, one of your writers, Alyssa Merck, is currently harassing me and is now DMing my wife on Facebook. This is completely unacceptable behavior and way out of bounds, reprehensible. Do you stand by this behavior, CC Grubs? Right? So this is I just had to explain to my wife why you hired a former sex worker that has become an unhinged activist posing as a journalist. Right? Absolutely 100% fucked up. Unwell. It is unwell. And yeah, it is a reason to be scared. And once again, these are things where you might be able to file a police report over them. So I'm going to watch, Rev did a really good job of covering this. So shout out to Rev again. I play his videos a lot because he does a good job of compiling a lot of this information. So I do appreciate that. So we'll play that here and let's watch this here. And as he goes through, I'm gonna pause on some of the tweets because some of them are particularly defamatory. Some of them are not, right? So it's going to be good to parse the two out.
Is struggling for any relevancy at this point. You can see their Twitter account has nearly 3 million followers, and yet their recent articles are struggling to get 20 likes in the span of 20 hours.
Bruh, that is bad. Are you, hold on, 20 likes and you are a major outlet? Are you fucking kidding me? Wow. That is bad. And yes, I see you guys in the chat. Tag Mindbreak. All right. But yeah, no, this is really bad. Kotaku is really irrelevant. And one of the things is they said hey, let's go focus on making game guides. They had said we need to go back to that. That's actually what made them famous, was doing game guides. And all of their staff, or most of their staff, which is a bunch of people that are mentally deranged, said, no, we don't want to do that. We want to keep attacking people. And because the CEO is a cuck, he bent over and he took it and he said, okay, sorry. We won't do that. We're going to go back. We're going to stay political. We're going to stay to attacking people. We're going to stay doing all this, other crap, this game activism crap. We're going to stay. We'll let you guys keep doing that. Right. And you see they're reaping the rewards from that, of this strategy of being this kind of political, quasi-political attack dog, right? Because this stuff is like quasi-political. I don't want to say it's left or right necessarily, but like they're trying to make a point, right? They're trying to make everything into sexist, racist, misogynistic, everything. So they see under every corner of the gaming industry sexism, misogyny, bigoted, yada, yada, all this stuff. So they have a particular view of the world that they're trying to impose on everybody else who's just trying to enjoy the goddamn video games, right?
20 hours. And if you look at the data, it adds up. Their relevancy is completely gone. In fact, their traffic is at an all-time low, despite being in daily controversies due to the actions of some of their contributors, like Alyssa here, who once again is under the microscope because of some insane behavior she has been making. Now, you can see before we get into this, she recently added a blue check mark to her name. That means that she is paying for Twitter, meaning she gets a share of ad revenue when people look at her account. And
which is why a lot of people are trying to engagement farm. And now I will say, I have seen Twitter community noting a lot of stuff, because if you get community noted, you don't get that ad revenue. But right now, I really do believe she is farming attention, right, from this sort of bad behavior. And as somebody with her background and her type of attention-seeking behavior, right, for people like Alyssa, the thing you got to understand is they like attention, whether it is negative or positive, and they're addicted to that amount of attention. They're addicted to that amount of relevance. So what you do have to do is at some point you do have to ignore them. But one reason why I'm covering this is because she's getting into stuff that's potentially criminal here, and potentially at least civilly liable, potentially criminal, because cyber stalking can be a crime, right? So it's transcending that. It's becoming a good point to talk about, but you really just personally have to not respond to them. And I've never personally responded to Alyssa. I've never tweeted her. I've never done anything else on Twitter and engaged her in a way that she'd be able to monetize, right? This is on a separate platform. Can't really help her make any money because this is on YouTube, not on Twitter. So,
and her tweets. This is something that happened very recently, because this screenshot right here was from only a few days ago, and you can see there was no
pronouns in the bio, just stating a fact, right? Just saying.
Check mark. So if you're going to talk about her on Twitter, make sure to use screenshots instead of directly.
And by the way, I love people who put senior editor Kotaku views mine. Well, it's very funny. If this is your personal page, right? Why is that something you need to lead with? Because you're using your authority as a Kotaku person while trying to say, oh, no, this doesn't represent Kotaku. You can't have it both ways, right? I mean, it's kind of like, okay, are you speaking for Kotaku and you're speaking with the authority of Kotaku, or are you yourself, right? Which one is it in the particular moment? But anyways, just a point of order there.
Engaging with her tweets to avoid giving her a few pennies here and there. Now, she is very well known for unhinged behavior.
So right here, you can't be racist against white people, right? This is the big view she has. You can't be racist against white people. This is something. And then she got community noted on this several times, right? And then she had to limit who can reply to her tweets, because everyone pretty much blew her out of the water.
Months on end defending.
Also, yeah, being ageist is bad, except for when it's about old white dudes in games journalism.
Racism against people based on the color of their skin, inciting violence against certain types of people, so on and so forth. And this has been all for the love of the game, by the way. She is not even monetized up until recently, so this was just for attention. Now,
That was to gain monetization, right? Because she knew if she farmed that attention, she was going to get monetization.
Recent beef involves a YouTuber by the name of Smash JT. Now, this beef begins with a different YouTuber who Alyssa claims is threatening their life because of these jokes this person has made about killing her in virtual reality. Now, it's very ironic to see game journalists supporting this and claiming these are true threats when we've seen other YouTubers and content creators get threats on their lives, and those were dismissed as jokes. Recently, we've seen...
Yes, here we go. Here's the one. Here's a lot of ones here. This is Flash. That isn't this a crime? I actually responded to this one where Tone Man says 20K to anyone who makes this dipshit disappear, talking about Mark Kern over Eve's outfits. So why is it that when people with one particular opinion are directly threatened, and I've covered this threat before multiple times, but this is a threat that you could go to the police over. This is something that is not okay. This is a clear call for someone to end this person. It's a direct threat to this person. Just saying, this is something. This is actually not okay, right? This is not okay. 20K to anyone who makes this dipshit disappear, right? Not okay. 100% a threat, right? And way clearer than someone in a video game, right? In Minecraft, in whatever else, in VR, who may make a model which may be similar to you and may be taken out. Even if that did happen, right? Let's assume that did happen, right? If someone created a legal mindset virtual reality avatar and shot it in the VR, right? That's less of a worry for me than if someone made a direct threat saying 20K to anyone that makes legal mindset disappear. I'm more worried about that than I am about a virtual reality avatar, one versus the other. I'm just saying, right? I'm not really scared if someone creates that. In fact, people have already created virtual reality avatars of me or memes and other stuff like that are very unflattering, that are very mean. There's some that are even violent, that I've seen people create. And that's fine. I'm not threatened by those. People have a right to create art or whatever else they want to do. But when you start saying it can be vile, it can be disgusting, it can be in bad taste, that's fine. But when you make a threat like this where someone disappears, that is pretty much assuming, like, the base assumption here is the person, right? Not their account. It didn't say their Twitter account, right? It said this dipshit, this person, right? So the assumption here is this is a person, not talking about the account, because, of course, these people and their allies are going to say, well, they were talking about, removing him from Twitter. No, that's not what this says. It doesn't say makes the account get deleted, right? It says this dipshit, the person, disappear. Right. So my assumption here is this is a direct threat of violence. And then this is something that makes it potentially criminal.
Mark Kern, who calls out censorship and game journalists all the time, get a 20K bounty on his head. In fact, that would be double down when a streamer would up it to 30,000 against Mark Kern and Asmongold. In fact, even today, we have seen another bounty placed on Mark Kern's head.
Look at this, $10,000 clean shot this weekend. This is this one is a direct shot, saying clean shot, like a direct call to violence against Mark Kern, right? This is unhinged. Why aren't they calling this out? Who's reporting on this shit? Nobody.
Which insinuates they want their life. In fact, even further, on another post putting a bounty on Mark Kern's head.
Look at this right here. It's $50,000. So Grimlow, the title's covering it here, but he ups to 50,000.
You can see Alyssa down here gleefully replying and saying that she's going to DM this individual who eventually deleted their tweet. Now, returning to this.
So Alyssa Mercanti, this person who's complaining about death threats, this hypocritical bitch, she went out there and DM'd a person who put a $50,000 bounty on Mark Kern. So she's complaining about it. These people are, like Mitch said right here, peak hypocrisy. This is what's so disgusting about it to me and so vile. These people are 100% the most hypocritical motherfuckers out there. And if there's anything that pisses me off, anything that makes me mad, it is hypocrisy. I'm okay with people that disagree with me if they are intellectually consistent, if they're legally consistent. I have a problem when you're hypocritical. If you're like, look, I just don't fucking like you, I'm like, all right, well, that's fine. At least you're consistent, right? But don't complain about the same thing when it happens to you. I saw this about, for example, ProZD. I don't know if you guys saw this about ProZD. ProZD was complaining the other day about, or complaining a while ago about, oh, well, we should get people to play anime characters that match their ethnicity, right? So he's Korean, right? So ProZD, right? Say, okay, well, I want to play characters that match the ethnicity. Okay, well, Korean. And now he's getting cut out of roles because the characters are white. They're not Asian or Korean, right? So he's getting cut out. Well, that's what you wanted, right? That's what you wanted, right? So once again, why is it rules for thee and not for me? That's what these people want. It's insane. It's insanity, right?
The reason Alyssa has an issue with JT is that she believes that he is platforming and putting a threat and inciting violence on her life by pointing out this quote retweet by JT here where he uses the
platforming. Wasn't she platforming by retweeting something about a 50K kill shot? You know, isn't that the same thing?
Tag end Kotaku, which is obviously a reference to Kotaku, the business, and hoping that they fall apart because they deserve it due to their terrible work. And Alyssa would clarify in other tweets that she not only claims that this person was platforming some dangerous individual, specifically talking to JT, she is saying that his use of the end Kotaku hashtag is inciting violence. Alyssa, let me show you what inciting
violence is. 10K clean shot this weekend. It's saying, oh my God, DM me to a 50K bounty on Asmongold, right? That's a direct inciting of violence.
Violence actually looks like. Here is your tweet from less than 2 months ago saying this: I maintain that most people who are shitty, aggressive, racist, sexist, otherwise terrible online have yet to get their asses beat IRL, and they should.
Now, I'll be clear because I'm a very fair person, and I do like to be fair. This one is probably not as actionable legally because she said most people, so she didn't specifically say who, right? And she just said have yet to get their asses beat, and they should, but didn't give a time, date, manner, place. So probably couldn't go after her criminally for this unless it was like specifically in response to something. But probably this one is not criminally actionable. That doesn't mean it's not morally deplorable. That doesn't mean it's not hypocritical, which it is, which is what Rev is pointing out. And I agree with Rev on this. This is definitely hypocritical, but maybe not necessarily criminal. And there's a line there, right? There's a line there between, okay, what's criminal versus what is not.
So basically, Alyssa is saying all of these types that she deems, by the way, including just bad people, should have physical violence inflicted upon them in real life.
Right. So what if everybody you disagreed with, right? I mean, and once again, it's a certain particular type of person who believes that the people who disagree with them should be violently attacked. It's very deranged. It's very deranged. And oftentimes they'll point the finger in the other direction, but when you point the finger, there's 3 pointing back at yourself, right? So you always got to say with these people, is it projection? And 9 times out of 10, it is indeed projection with these folks.
That is inciting violence, especially when you're saying people like JT are bad people. You're claiming that. And also, on the other hand, saying people like that should be physically attacked in real life. In fact, you've done this before in another post from a few years ago saying...
And this is just racist in addition to hypocritical, right? This is just racist in addition to hypocritical. And I really do feel like people like Alyssa, they have some like real mental self-hate, deranged issues, right? You know, I mean, underneath this is some real like some real hurt that she needs to go to like deep therapy for, right? And help herself, because this is something that is mentally unhinged.
That white people should get physically assaulted on
because if someone's walking down the street, right, and she really believed that white people need to be beat, I think that she would be getting her ass beat, because to me, looking at all of her photos, she looks white to me, right? So, I mean, walking down the street, if someone just saw her and saw her on the street, looks like, so she's saying she needs to get her ass beat. And she'd be like, well, my background is XYZ. Well, that's not what you said. You said white people. So you're just saying people based on their skin color need to get beat. Well, if you're walking down the street, it looks like you need to get beat too, Alyssa, right? If you're just walking down the street, right? Looks like it to me. Because you're saying we judge people on skin color, right? I mean, it's crazy. These people are unhinged.
Regular. Again, saying a group of people based on the color of their skin should be physically assaulted. That looks like inciting violence a lot more than a end Kotaku hashtag being shared on Twitter. Now, of course, JT would start laughing off this whole situation, saying, never thought I'd.
So here you go. So it's like, wonder how long before she blocks you again and locks down her account again. I say days in or one or the other. No, she slid into my DMs like a bitch. I'm married. Get the fuck out of here. And then she unblocks. So she unblocks him to do that, and then says, "So you think it's funny that you platformed a man threatening to kill me?" Right. Once again, I love this platforming being such a fucking crime here. So whenever you talk to anybody, whenever you have a discussion, that opens you up to being, for you to threaten to kill them, right? So I love Alyssa's hypocrisy here. She's like, oh, it's so funny. You platformed a man threatening to kill me. So now she gets to threaten to kill you. That's what it is. So she gets to put a bounty on your head, a more direct bounty on your head.
Get so much pleasure over Alyssa spurging out about me, but here we are, where eventually he says that she slid into his DMs and he's like, no, I'm married, get out of here, which is the fairest response to someone like Alyssa approaching you.
Correct.
Where she responds directly to him saying, so you think it's funny that you platformed a man threatening to kill me? And when she got aired on this one, she would get even more mad with this tweet saying, anyway, I found your wife's Facebook and asked what she thinks about the father of her children harassing a woman online, and laughing when she shares that someone they're supporting has been threatening to kill them for weeks. Of course, it always goes back to she's a woman, and that's why people are attacking her, which is ridiculous. People are.
Well, once again, if this is the thing that's really infuriating for me, and this is the legal the Niji sisters are going to come. This is sexist. Look, sexist legal mindset. No, because not all women do this. It is a very subsect of people, and it can happen not just with women, but with anybody. When you use your status, whether that is gender, whether that's nationality, whether that is sexual orientation, whether that's language, whatever that is, as both a shield and a sword. So you are using your status to attack others and then to shield yourself from any criticism. So you're using it to attack and to shield. No. You lose that ability. You get one function. If you're going to use that as an attack, you don't get to use it as a defense, right? If you're putting yourself out there and attacking other people, you don't get to cower behind, oh, but I'm a woman. No, you're out here threatening to kill people and supporting that, retweeting that, endorsing that. You don't get to hide behind that now and pretend that what you're doing is not harassment. And it's one of the most, to me, these people are some of the most scummy, hypocritical, and oftentimes criminal folks on the internet. And this behavior, now every state is different. Let's talk about the laws for real quick. Every state's different, but this is potentially cyber stalking. Now, different states are different. I don't know where Smash GT lives. I don't know what his, I assume he's in the US. I don't know what his state has in terms of cyber stalking, but it is possible that this is something that would constitute that, because she is going out of her way for this form of harassment. I would love to see a restraining order issued against Alyssa for her behavior. I would love to see that. And I think there might be enough basis for it at this point, because we've got all of this. And based on a totality of the evidence against Alyssa, a totality of the evidence, In certain states in the US, let me be very clear, not all states, certain states, it might be possible to get a restraining order against Alyssa McConaughey. Let me say that one more time. Based on the totality of the evidence in certain states in America, it might be possible to get a restraining order for cyber stalking or a related electronic crime against Alyssa McConaughey because she's done all of this stuff.